This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Sunday, February 28th, 2021. The title of this rant is the GOP's continuing motto. If you can't beat them, suppress them. So back when Benghazi happened in 2012, basically the Republicans throw out stuff every single day. And they have it designed by social scientists and linguistics and political people and communication people. And what I call it is it's the contrived outrage of the day. They need to see what sticks. Well, Benghazi stuck. And they rode that as far and long as they could. I think by the end of 2016, they had 8 separate congressional inquiries in it. None of them found anything wrong with what Hillary had done in terms of her responsibilities as the Secretary of State, but it had legs. They rode it. They vilified her. Probably still will when Trump speaks tonight. And when Trump lost the election, and he claimed voter fraud, which he claimed in 2016. The Republicans, again, saw something that had legs, something that could stick with it, and they're going to ride this out. Even though Trump's out of office, they are going to ride this right into the next election because they're going to take this contrived outrage of voter fraud, which we had nothing to do with the actual truth, all right, and they're going to ride it. So now that in legislatures all over the country, they're coming into session, we have 253 separate bills in 43 states that are trying to be enacted strictly to increase voter suppression around the United States. And it's taking all kinds of forms, many of them you've heard of, the limited mail-in balloting, additional restrictions on voter ID, decrease, making it harder to actually be registered to vote. The black churches had a thing called Souls to the Polls, where they go to the polls after church. And yes, the legislatures are trying to basically outlaw that, outlaw voting on Sundays, outlaw voting on other days, limited voting times, limited number of drop box locations. When you get to the actual voting precinct itself, the limiting, especially in, let's just say, urban areas or where people of color are more prevalent, limiting the number of actual booths within a precinct. So that's why you see all the long lines out there. Again, the whole thing is to make it harder and harder and harder for people of color to vote. And why do they want to do that? It's because they're racists at heart, all right? And they want to keep people of color from voting. And if we just take, all right, this has been going on with the Republicans for a long time, so it's not new with Trump, but they're really going on this voter fraud thing and trying to ride that as much as they can. But let's just take the example that people of color can vote like Democrats all want them to vote, and they vote Democratic, okay? But with the Republicans, then a lot more things were being enacted. But the Republicans want them not to vote so that they don't have to, they want to keep the minimum wage down. They don't want to believe that global climate change is real and that we can do things about it right away. They don't want to believe that they don't believe there should be any comprehensive immigration reform. They do not believe that taxing the rich, that they want to decrease the taxes on the rich. They want to decrease the amount that we invest in education. They want to decrease the amount that we want to invest in infrastructure. All of the things that would be part of what if more people in the United States were allowed to vote. So we need to know and express that this is done solely, all right, to keep people of color from voting, and thereby, again, expressly continuing the GOP policy of white supremacy and racist policies. And of course, this has to end, and we have to go after them every single day, because the election for 2022 is on right now, especially with those 253 pieces of legislation in all of those states.